a man make mistakes? Is he eligible for redemption? Will it really hurt your spirit to make this one exception? If I did you wrong, am I wrong for doing you wrong? If we get back on and make a promise to get along, would you take me back? My bad, I'm back. Would you take me back? My bad, I'm back.
Yo, what's good? It's the Big D from the Big D Show, Divorce News Daily segment. You know how we do. We get in here and we talk. We talk about some things that affect us all. Marriage, divorce, relationships, separations, whether we get back together or whether she take all our money. We talk about everything, right? But we just try to look at it from different perspectives. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to jump in here pretty quickly and get started. Now, I told you I'd keep me honest about drinking my water. I didn't drink water this morning yet. I drunk my Guadaviton with the acai in it. That's pretty good to drink too, but I do have water back there in the fridge, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. So y'all keep me honest with that, because I got to keep my resolution up to be drinking my water. So, you know, I got to keep this skin fine and, you know, beautiful. But let's see what we got going on here today. Looks like we got a story from Quick Stay 6827. Says, discovered wife cheating after separation. Well, okay, let's find out what's going on here, because I'm thinking like, okay, if you separated or whatever, well, you think that she's not going to do something, but technically I guess it's cheating. My wife and I have decided to separate as she says she no longer loves me and we no longer have a sex life. That was around 4 months ago, and she always maintained that no one else is involved, but at the back of my mind, I had the inkling that something wasn't right. We still live together until we can sort out finances. Yesterday, she went out and came back quite drunk and as she was drunkenly looking at her phone, I caught sight of a text with love hearts on it, and I could see that the person who she was texting had a name beginning with G. I know none of her friends have that initial, so it made me suspicious. This morning, I checked her phone while she was being sick in the bathroom and saw messages to and from a man called Gareth, who I suspect is a work colleague. Now I know she's cheating, and I'm unsure on my next move. Does it change anything to do with the divorce? When should I confront her? I feel like I need more evidence first, but I'm confused. Oh man, I don't think you need more evidence, bro. You seen the text. And she was crazy drunk and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah, she was out with homeboy. Okay, so there's a couple things that we're going to kind of get into right here. So it's been 4 months. All right. So I'd imagine it's been longer that you haven't been having sex, because she didn't just come to this conclusion 4 months ago and just break it off cold turkey. That's not normally how it happens, right? Kind of gradually happens. She says she no longer loves you and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it's not typical that she's just going to meet this Prince Charming or whatever, somebody that she's working with or whatever, and just fall in love with him the first day, right? Nah, probably been going on a little bit. So, she probably been cheating, at least emotionally, for a minute now, even while you was together. It's only been 4 months, that you guys been broken up or whatever. But the thing is, she still live in your house. So I take that as real disrespectful, right? So I don't love you. I don't want to be with you. I'm not going to have sex with you, but I'm going to have you pay the bills though, because financially we can't get it together, right? So to me, I feel like cheating and having other relationships and jumping out of one relationship to another one is for somebody who's prepared financially to do that. I got a rule. I feel like for me personally, I'm like, you don't even got to say nothing. Just don't come home and don't come back. I don't care. My life's not going to change whether you came back or not, because everything I'm doing going to run the same way. So with you or without you, I'm running it the same way. And I think every man should set up his life like that. Like whether she's in the door or out the door, your life does not change. But we tend to end up with people where they're not financially stable enough to be able to get out on their own if something goes wrong. So I think that we should have some type of plan for that, especially when the person who wants to break it off is not financially stable. You gotta have some kind of plan for that, for what you're gonna do or whatever. So he caught a glimpse of the phone or whatever. I'm pretty good at that with the side eye or whatever. It's just like I'll see what's on somebody's phone, you know. And then he had the wherewithal to check the phone and the messages or whatever. And it's a dude that, maybe she worked with or whatever, that she's hollering at or whatever. Why this dude can't save her? To me, I'm like, put her in a position where she got to be saved by homeboy. And if homeboy's taking your problem, let him. To me, I'm just like, whatever. She's a problem for me. And if you want her, you can have her. So it's just one less problem for me. Like I said, my life's not going to change except I have one less problem. So yeah, I think that's kind of wild that she would do that in your face. She has no respect for you. She's checked out of this situation a long, long time ago. And she feels like she could just do whatever she wants to do. And she's going to do it on your dime because you're helping with the finances. I guess she's working or whatever. So whatever you're doing, you're helping with the finances. She's helping with the finances. She feels like she could do whatever. Now, if you guys are going 50-50 or whatever, she's paying her half, you paying your half. Okay, now we're roommates. Right? So maybe I would approach it like that. Maybe I would say that to her. Like, listen, I know you're doing your thing or whatever. Don't get salty about it or whatever. Listen, I know you're doing your thing or whatever like that. But I feel like, it'd be one-sided for you to be able to do your thing and me not to be able to do my thing or whatever. So if this is the path that you want to go down or whatever like that, I'm not going to stop you or whatever. Remember, you let the dude take your problems. I'm not going to stop you from what you're doing or whatever like that, but you're going to have to give me the same courtesy. I need to be able to see who I want to see. You should be able to see who you want to see or whatever like that. And then we're going to work out this situation where we're going to get these finances together. That's what we need to work on. We need to work together to make these finances together so that I can go get an apartment, you can go get an apartment or whatever, and we can both live our lives or whatever. But if we're starting now with somebody new, then the scale has to be equal. You can be out here in these streets. I can be out here in these streets too. Got a problem with that? You can ride out, test your luck in the streets. But that's the way it's going to go down. Like, you're not going to be up there looking crazy and smiling at me knowing that you've been out here in these streets while you kept me hostage. That's not going to work. And a lot of people are trying to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to hold you in the jail while they out in the streets running, doing whatever, running the streets with the sirens on. What I'm saying? No, man, that ain't good. That ain't gonna go down like that. If you doing it, I'm doing it too. I keep that as a motto. I told my girlfriend just the other day, I said, anything you make me think that you doing, I'm gonna be doing it. So, we don't have to discuss it nothing like that. If you give me the inkling or the idea that this is what that you doing, I'm gonna be doing the same thing. You ain't gonna hot side on me in the end. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna catch me out there crying and stuff, talking about, oh, she was cheating on me and I stayed faithful and all this or whatever. I'm like, nah, you feel the need to be out there in these streets, I'm gonna be in the streets too. It's what it is. I say that kind of jokingly, but not really though. But yeah, man, all I'm gonna say, quick stage 6827, all I'm gonna say is, look here. Don't go on the phone no more. Just had a conversation with her, adult conversation. Look, I know that you got something going on, but I need to have my thing going on too. So if you and I are going to be roommates, we're not going to be together no more. You don't want me. I don't want you. It's cool or whatever. Let's roommates. We'll split these bills down the middle. You need to have your half of the rent. You need to have your half of the electric. And you need to buy your own food. I'm going to buy my own food or whatever like that. We'll work it out who cooks or whatever like that. But we need to do this separation thing, and you holler at your boy over there, Mr. Gareth, and whoever he is. You can go ahead and do that, but I'm going to do my thing. So when I'm over here with Sabrina or Tammy and everybody else, you shouldn't have no problem with that, right? See how that go. Anyway, Karma JGC in the Divorce Man Reddit says, I wish she hurt me. Let's see what's up with this. It says, my wife and I decided on a divorce today. No yelling, no fighting, no infidelity that I know about. No kids. Okay, that's cool. I'm distraught and sad. She's distraught and sad. I'm crying. She's crying. I don't wish for the horrible and emotionally torturous proceedings that y'all have had to go through. But I wish she cheated. I wish she did anything that would make me be able to just emotionally turn it off. Honestly think I would handle that better than this. I just love her so much, man, but the chemistry is just gone. All right, it goes down like this sometimes, man. Like, sometimes it's just the end of the road. And maybe the person didn't do nothing to you. Maybe, maybe, or at least you don't know that they did anything to you or whatever like that, but maybe it's just time for it to be over with. That happens with a lot of things, right? That happens with a lot of things in our lives. It's like sometimes it's just time for something to be over with. And maybe you haven't done anything to each other or whatever. You haven't created no kids or anything like that. So why not just let it be what it is? Things have a time and a season. So both of you are going to be hurt because it's a separation or whatever. But maybe in the end, you find a way to celebrate it. As long as you haven't hurt one another, I think that you probably will be able to work it out for the better of both of y'all. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because you love her. Like he said, I love her, but I have no chemistry with her. Maybe it's the way that you got into it. Maybe you didn't make sure the chemistry was there when you got into it. Sometimes things blind us. Like maybe the sex is cool or whatever like that, and that blinds you. Maybe she's really cute or whatever like that, and you think like this is the one, and that blinds you, and then you're ignoring some other things that's going on, or maybe where you're not really compatible. But at least you didn't have kids or anything like that, right? To complicate matters and to make things a little more difficult or whatever. So, you got to be able to just turn it off. Like you said, you want to be able to just emotionally turn it off. But it sounds like you're emotionally invested still. So I think you got to discuss why there's no chemistry there. I think it's fair to her to go to her and maybe have a sit down and say, look, why don't we have this chemistry anymore? We used to be this way or whatever like this. This is not the way we are now, though. So what exactly happened? You might learn something. Just be ready to be open and honest and to receive. Be able to take in the information that's given and process it, not just to respond, but process it to be able to understand. And maybe you might find out, you know what? Maybe we're really not meant to be together. Maybe her aspirations is to do other things. Maybe she want to travel the world, but I want to stay here and build a business. And if I build this brick and mortar business, I can't be all over the world. Maybe her just what she wants to do aligns a different way. Maybe you guys are just young. I don't know. They don't say the age is here or whatever. It almost sounds like maybe they're young. And maybe you're just growing at this point in time. So don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would just kind of let it be what it is. And just learn to let go. Maybe that's not everybody's going to probably tell you, try to keep it together. But it's like, sometimes you got to learn to let go. Maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe you come back. Maybe you circle back. You don't know if you'll circle back in 20 years. You might have to go out there, get scuffed up a little bit here and there or whatever, and then realize what you had. And then you both might come back and be back with each other. You don't know that. Life is funny that way. You never know how you might circle back around. Maybe you really did have love. Maybe it just wasn't time. Maybe the soil that you planted in wasn't great. But then by the time you get to another place in life, maybe it is good. It happens. It happens to people. So I had a cousin that met a guy years and years and years ago, almost 30 years ago. They fell in love or whatever like that. This person met my aunt and all that kind of stuff and didn't work out. And now just this past year, they end up back together, So, and I think they already broke up, from what I see. Like there's still some other issues there because in 20 years, a lot of things can change. So you don't ignore the red flags. And I think he's not ignoring the red flags. But, it is what it is. Sometimes you're not meant to be together. You can love someone from a distance, but you're not meant to be together and live on a daily, day-to-day basis with this person. Maybe that's not what you're supposed to do, is construct a life with them. Let's move on here to VIR Peachin. Hopefully I said that right. And the divorce Reddit says, what did you gift yourself after divorce? Oh, this is a good question. This is an interesting question to kind of deal with, right? According to Google, it suggested I take a trip, repurpose my wedding set, go to a spa, start a hobby, etc. Those seem like inconsequential suggestions after such a monumental life event. So I'm curious, what did you gift yourself after divorce? That's deep, right? It's a really, really good question. Should you give yourself something after going through this monumental situation, as life event, as she called it, right? I think it might be important. Maybe there's some things that you've been wanting to do forever, right? Some people of means or whatever, they might go out and get that boat that they wanted. They might go out and get that car that they wanted, or that motorcycle. Motorcycles tend to be a hot one. It's like they want to get that motorcycle. Maybe they want to get a tattoo at the same time or something, whatever. They want to relive their youth a little bit, so they go out and get those things. But it doesn't always have to be a material possession. It doesn't have to be you going buying yourself things or whatever, and maybe, travel and stuff like that. You might gift yourself some peace of mind. You might gift yourself some time to yourself. You might gift yourself some freedom to run around naked in your house with nobody looking or watching. Might have a few more rolls and pockets of things that's sticking out where they didn't used to stick out before, but what you gonna do? Maybe that's your gift to yourself. Maybe you hadn't had that. Maybe you had kids and you had a husband or you had a wife or something like that, and you just wasn't able to be free. Right? And now you just gift yourself a little bit of freedom. I don't know. There's a lot of things. Y'all tell me in the comments what you think, you should gift yourself. My gift to myself was just the understanding that I could write the pages of my life the way that I wanted to write them. I think I was 38, 39 years old when I got divorced. So I think 38. So it was kind of like, hey, I could literally live every single day of my life over again from the time I was born. So I got a lot of time, so as long as I live that long, I got a lot of time. So let me write the pages of this book the way that I want to write it. And that ended up with me thinking about, oh man, I need to travel. Raising my kids and all this, I didn't have time to travel. I didn't have money to travel or whatever. I was like, let me get out here and see the world. I had a friend of mine who used to hang out sometimes, we'd go to watch the game or whatever, little sports bar or whatever. And he traveled. He would go every year, probably for like 2-3 months. He would go to like Spain or where was it? Tenerife, Spain or whatever. He would go over there. So, and I just saw how happy he was talking about it. He was a single guy or whatever. He was single, no kids or nothing like that. Had his own brokerage firm or whatever. And he just was like, yo, like I go over there and I just, live, and he loves it or whatever. And I was like, and I could see like how it helped him on a business end as well, because it was always a great icebreaker. Whenever he would talk about his travels or whatever, people always wanted to talk to him. It's like he became more interesting, or at least they had questions about traveling or whatever. So it's like, it's a way to have conversation with people. If you're, say, like an introverted person or whatever like that, or maybe you're not good at conversation starters or keeping a conversation going. I'm not either. I know I'm on here talking like I talk all the time, but that's because I'm by myself. I'm not a person that does a lot of small talk. I just don't do that. So travel has opened up a world for me to have a little bit of something to talk about, because people are interested. And once I can kind of get a feel for a person, and we can have conversation, then later, I think the world starts to open up for our conversation or whatever. So, but travel has been that for me. So that's kind of the gift that I gave myself, was the ability to write the pages of my life again, of my entire life, live my entire life again, and write the pages of the book the way that I want to write it. I fortunately was able to come to Brazil. I got laid off from my job. They told us, like, we got bought once, and then we got bought again. That company that bought us got bought or whatever for almost $1 billion. And they had 2 accounting departments. They're like, okay, we can't have two accounting departments, so we're going to let you guys go. But if you stay, you can leave today, but if you stay, we're going to give you so much money or whatever just for staying for like the next 3 months, help with the transition. So we went to work every day, and these people in the other office or whatever never asked us nothing. They never wanted any information. They didn't want to know anything until like the last week. So we sat there for 3 months, like we go into work, sit at our desk and go, what are we going to do for lunch? We're getting a paycheck, whatever. But it's just like, okay, what are we going to do for lunch? We didn't have any responsibilities as far as like doing the job or anything like that. We just had to show up. And I showed up till July 1st was the day that they said we had to show up till, or that was going to be our first day we were free. I got my bonus check on top of my severance for that. And in 7 days, I was in Brazil. July 8th, I was here, spent 3 months in Sao Paulo. And then my severance was like to get, I got my check for 2 months. That was July. I got my check for another 6 months. Until December, they were going to just pay my check out. Right. So, every 2 weeks. I didn't get the lump sum. They offered me they actually decided that I should get the every 2 weeks pay. And I was like, oh, that's great. I'm not going to spend the lump sum. I ain't got to pay the taxes on the lump sum, so it worked out for me, right? Even though I got the divorce or whatever like that, I put it in my mind, like, this is what I wanted. Then it worked out. The situation set up where I could actually go travel and be here in Brazil for months at a time and still even have a paycheck. So I came for 3 months, left in October. 6 weeks later, I came back and I stayed for 3 more months. So I did Sao Paulo and Ilhabela and all that stuff first. And then I came over here to Rio, and I stayed here for 3 months too. So, and that's how I got acclimated to, like, okay, I found out where I wanted to live, and now 2018, years later, it took me some years to set it all up and get it done, but I got it done. I came in 2018 and I've been living here since 2018. So, it worked out, and so that was my gift to myself. And so I wake up every day with the idea and the knowledge that I'm living my dream. Regardless of the women, regardless of what happens, or regardless of money, regardless of anything, I accomplished my dream. I'm living my dream. I'm happy. And I've been talking to people like, hey, sometimes you got to do something. What you want is maybe outside of your comfort zone. Maybe it's not, what you're doing right now is not enough for you to live the life that you want to live. If you're crying about your life and your life is not fulfilling, you've got to make some changes. And there's a lot of people that are like, they shouldn't have to make any changes. Their life should just be better. And it doesn't work like that, So I just try to encourage people to do more. So I think we're going to leave it there. Think about that. What did you gift yourself after your divorce? Or what would you gift yourself if you were getting divorced? Or since you're getting divorced, what would you gift yourself? I'm going to leave it at that. Comment, like, and subscribe. It's the Big D. Thank you for hanging out with me today. The Big D Show. Peace.
Can a man make mistakes? Is he eligible for redemption? Will it really hurt your spirit to make this one exception? If I did you wrong, am I wrong for doing you wrong? If we get back on and make a promise to get along, would you take me back? My bad, I'm back. Would you take me back? My bad, I'm back.